My nephews knocked on my door at 4 a.m., shivering in their pajamas. Their parents had locked them out again. This time, I didn't just bring them inside. I made one phone call, and their parents' lives changed permanently. The knocking began at 4:03 a.m. It wasn't loud or desperate, just steady. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. At first, I thought I was dreaming. Then I heard it again, and I was fully awake. Someone was at my door in the middle of the night. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no messages. Got out of bed, put on sweatpants, and looked through the peephole. Two small figures stood on my porch. My heart dropped. Jake and Tommy, my nephews, 8 and 6 years old, wearing only pajamas. I opened the door immediately. "Uncle Mark," Jake said, his voice shaking. His lips were blue. "Mom and Dad locked us out again." Again. That single word was enough. "Get inside," I said. They walked in, both trembling so hard their teeth were chattering. Tommy's Spider-Man pajamas were damp from the dew. Jake's bare feet left wet marks on my hardwood floor. I grabbed blankets from the couch, wrapped them tightly, and turned the heat up to 78 degrees. "How long were you outside?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Maybe an hour," Jake replied. "We knocked, but they didn't answer." Tommy didn't speak. Tears rolled down his face silently. I checked the time. 4:03 a.m. The temperature outside was 36 degrees. It was November in Illinois. They had been outside for about an hour in freezing weather, dressed in thin cotton pajamas. My sister Emma and her husband Brad lived 6 blocks away. 6 blocks! The boys had walked alone in the dark to reach my house. "Stay here," I told them. "I'll make hot chocolate." For months, I had sensed something was wrong. Emma is 3 years older than I am. We were close growing up. She protected me from bullies, helped me prepare for the SATs, and lent me money during college when I was struggling. Then she married Brad. Brad Thompson, 34, was a regional sales manager for a pharmaceutical company. He earned a good salary, drove a Lexus, and maintained a gym membership he rarely used. He was also controlling, unpredictable, and often harsh. I noticed it during family dinners. His comments toward Emma sounded minor on the surface, but were cutting. "You're wearing that? Maybe if you cooked like my mother, the kids would eat. Can you not embarrass me in front of everyone?" Emma would laugh, brush it off, or change the topic, but I saw her shoulders tighten. Her smile rarely reached her eyes. The boys behaved differently around Brad as well. They were quieter, cautious, as if they were afraid of making a mistake. 3 months earlier, they had shown up at my door the first time. It was late at night. Emma and Brad had been arguing loudly. The boys got scared and hid in the backyard playhouse. When they tried to return inside, the door was locked. They waited about 20 minutes, knocked, and called out. No one responded. So they walked 6 blocks to my house at 11 p.m. in September. I kept them overnight and called Emma the next morning. "Oh my God, Mark, I'm so sorry. We didn't hear them. We were exhausted and fell asleep." "They were locked out, Emma. It was an accident. They shouldn't have gone outside." "They were scared. You and Brad were yelling." There was a pause. "We're working through some things. Marriage is hard." "This isn't about marriage. It's about your children being safe." "They're fine, Mark. Don't overreact." 2 weeks later, it happened again. That time, Brad answered when I called. "They need to learn not to wander off," he said, his voice flat. "Maybe next time they'll think twice before leaving the house without permission." "They're 6 and 8. You can't lock them outside as punishment." "I'm their father. I'll discipline them however I choose." "That isn't discipline. It's neglect." He ended the call. I let it go. I told myself Emma would manage it, that she would protect her children. But now, sitting in my living room at 4:03 a.m., watching Jake and Tommy shake under blankets, I understood she wouldn't, and I was done waiting. The boys fell asleep on my couch around 5:30 a.m. Before that, I took photos. Their wet pajamas, their red hands, Jake's bare feet with dirt and grass on them. I checked the metadata. Timestamp 4:17 a.m. I saved everything in a folder labeled Evidence. Then I went to my bedroom and made the call I should have made months earlier. Child Protective Services Emergency Hotline. A woman answered on the third ring, calm and professional. Illinois DCFS, this is Monica. How can I assist you? My name is Mark Sullivan. I need to report child endangerment. Please describe the situation. My nephews, Jake, 8, and Tommy, 6, were locked out of their home tonight. They arrived at my house at 4 a.m. wearing pajamas and no shoes. It's 36 degrees outside. They said they were out there for about an hour. Are the children safe now? They're with me, but this is the third time in 3 months. There was a pause, followed by typing. The third time? Yes. Their parents, my sister, Emma Patterson, and her husband, Brad, have done this before. September 23rd, October 8th, and tonight, November 17th. More typing. Do you have documentation, photos, timestamps? Yes, I can send them. Please do. I'm opening a case file now. We will send a caseworker this morning to evaluate the children and speak with the parents. When? First thing this morning. Can you keep the children until we arrive? Yes. Mr. Sullivan, you did the right thing. I wasn't fully certain of that yet, but I knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. At 6 a.m., my phone started vibrating. Emma. I didn't answer. She called repeatedly. At 6:47 a.m., she left a voicemail. Mark, where are my kids? Brad woke up and they're gone. Call me back now. I deleted it. At 7:15 a.m., someone pounded on my door. Brad. I checked through the peephole. He was visibly angry, still in his pajamas. I opened the door, but stayed in the doorway. Where are my kids? He demanded. Inside, sleeping. Get them. We're going home. No. His expression hardened. Excuse me? They're not going home. Not yet. You can't keep my kids from me. You locked them outside in freezing weather. They walked 6 blocks to get here. This is the third time it's happened.
That's none of your business. You made it my business when they knocked on my door at 4 a.m. We fell asleep. It was an accident. 3 times isn't an accident, Brad. It's a pattern. You self-righteous. He stepped forward, visibly aggressive. Give me my kids now. No, I'll call the police. Go ahead. I already contacted CPS. The color left his face. You did what? I called Child Protective Services. They're sending someone this morning. Jake and Tommy are staying with me until they arrive. You get off my porch before I call the police myself. He stood there for a moment, jaw tight, fists clenched, then turned and walked away. I watched until he was out of sight. My hands were shaking. The caseworkers arrived at 8:43 a.m. There were 2 of them, Monica Rivera, mid-40s, calm and professional, and her supervisor, James Park, a quiet man in his 50s who took notes constantly. Mr. Sullivan, Monica said, shaking my hand. We spoke on the phone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Can we see the children? Jake and Tommy were awake, eating cereal at the kitchen table. They looked small and uneasy. Hi, boys, Monica said gently. I'm Monica, and this is James. We're here to help. Is it okay if we talk with you for a few minutes? Jake looked at me. I nodded. It's okay. Just tell them the truth. Monica spoke with them separately, Jake first, then Tommy. I remained in the living room with James. How long have you been concerned? 3 months, since the first time they showed up here. And you didn't report it then? I believed it was a one-time mistake. My sister apologized and said it wouldn't happen again, but it happened twice more. Do you have documentation? I showed him the photos and timestamps, September 23rd, 11:47 p.m., October 8th, 9:23 p.m., November 17th, 4:17 a.m. James photographed my screen and documented everything. Any other concerning behavior? Brad is controlling and verbally abusive toward my sister. The boys are afraid of him. Have you seen physical abuse? No, but the emotional behavior is clear. He yells, humiliates Emma in front of the kids, and punishes the boys for things beyond their control, like being locked out. He told me they needed to learn not to wander off as if this were their fault. James recorded that as well. About 20 minutes later, Monica returned. Jake and Tommy confirmed your account. They've been locked out multiple times. They're afraid to go home. My chest tightened. What happens next? We open a formal investigation, interview the parents, inspect the home, and assess safety. If we determine the children are not safe, we'll file for emergency custody and place them with a relative, most likely you, until the case is resolved. How long does that take? It depends. It could be weeks or months. Emma arrived at 9:30 a.m. She looked exhausted, no makeup, hair pulled back, eyes swollen from crying. "Mark, please, I need to see my kids." Monica stepped forward. "Mrs. Patterson, I'm Monica Rivera with DCFS. We need to speak with you and your husband." Emma's expression fell. "This is insane. Mark, you called CPS on me?" "Yes, the boys were locked out 3 times in freezing weather." "We didn't mean to." "Intent doesn't change the risk. They could have suffered hypothermia, been injured, or worse. Do you understand how serious this is?" "They're fine." "They're not fine. Jake told Monica he's afraid to sleep because he doesn't know if you'll let him back inside. Does that sound like a simple mistake?" There was silence. "Get help, Emma. Seek therapy. Make changes. But I'm not sending them back until I know they're safe." "You're ruining my life." "No, you put them at risk. I'm trying to protect them." She ended the call. The hearing was difficult. Emma and Brad arrived with their attorney, Mitchell Barnes, well-dressed, confident, and dismissive. "Your Honor, this is a significant overreaction by an uncle with no children of his own. My clients made minor errors, falling asleep, failing to hear the knocking, but there is no evidence of intentional neglect." Judge Carol Martinez, a woman in her 60s with sharp focus, reviewed the case file carefully. "Mr. Barnes, are you aware this occurred 3 times?" "Your Honor, accidents can happen." "3 times?" she asked, looking directly at Emma and Brad.
You accidentally locked your children outside in freezing weather 3 separate times? Brad shifted in his seat. We're working on better communication. Communication? Judge Martinez reviewed Monica's report. Your son told the caseworker he's afraid to go home. Your 6-year-old said he cries at night because he thinks you'll lock him out again. Does that sound like a communication issue to you? Emma began crying, but the judge remained composed. Mrs. Patterson, I've read Mr. Sullivan's statement. I reviewed the DCFS report and the photographs. Your children walked 6 blocks in the dark in November wearing pajamas to escape a situation where they felt unsafe. Explain why I should not terminate your custody today. I love my kids, Emma said, her voice unsteady. Love is not enough. Love does not keep children warm. Love does not protect them when they are locked outside at 4 in the morning. She turned to me. Mr. Sullivan, are you prepared to take custody of these children? Yes, Your Honor. Full-time and long-term, for as long as they need me. Do you have the resources? I'm a software engineer. I work remotely. I have a 3-bedroom home, stable income, and I care deeply about them. She nodded. And the children, do they wish to stay with you? Yes, Your Honor. Jake told me he feels safe with me. Tally said he doesn't want to leave. Judge Martinez closed the file. Emergency custody is granted to Mark Sullivan. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, you will have supervised visitation only, 2 hours per week. You are ordered to complete parenting classes and undergo psychological evaluations. We will reconvene in 6 months. Emma gasped. 6 months? You should be grateful I am not terminating your rights entirely. This is your opportunity to demonstrate responsibility. Use it wisely. The gavel struck. Brad's face was tense. He took Emma's arm and guided her toward the exit. Before leaving, she turned back. You're destroying our family. No, I replied. You did that. I'm making sure the children are safe. The following 6 months were challenging. Supervised visitation occurred every Saturday for 2 hours,
with a social worker present. Emma often cried. Brad spoke very little. Jake and Tommy were respectful but reserved. They hugged their mother and said they loved her, but they never asked to return home. At night, Tommy experienced nightmares. Jake struggled with anxiety. I enrolled them in therapy with Dr. Linda Inouye, a child psychologist with 22 years of experience. She met with them twice weekly, helping them process trauma and develop coping skills. Gradually, improvement became visible. Jake joined the soccer team, built friendships, and began smiling more often. Tommy stopped crying at bedtime. They initially called me Uncle Mark, then Mark. One evening in March, Tommy said, "Good night, Dad," before turning over to sleep. He didn't notice what he had said, but I did. The 6-month review hearing took place in May in the same courtroom before the same judge. This time, Emma and Brad had completed their required programs and evaluations. "Your Honor," my attorney said, "Your Honor, my clients have fulfilled all court requirements. They have demonstrated improvement. It is time to reunify this family." Judge Martinez reviewed the reports. Dr. Mitchell's psychological evaluation notes significant improvement in Mrs. Patterson's emotional regulation. Mr. Patterson completed anger management and parenting courses satisfactorily. Their attorney nodded. "They have changed." "The question," the judge responded, "is not whether they have changed. It is whether the children feel safe." She turned to Jake and Tommy, who was seated beside me. "Jake, Tommy, I need you to answer honestly. No one will be upset with you. Where do you want to live?" Jake looked at his parents, then at me. "With Uncle Mark," he said quietly. Emma made a soft, distressed sound. "Tommy?" Tommy held my hand. "I want to stay with Uncle Mark." "Why?" "Because he doesn't lock us out. He makes pancakes, and he doesn't yell." Judge Martinez closed the file once more. "Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, I am granting permanent custody to Mark Sullivan." Emma stood. "They're my children." "They were in your care, but you failed to protect them repeatedly. Mr. Sullivan has provided a stable and secure home. The children have clearly expressed their preference. I will not return them to an environment where they feel unsafe. You will continue supervised visitation, but permanent custody is awarded to Mr. Sullivan." The gavel struck for the final time. Emma sat down, crying. Brad remained silent. I looked at Jake and Tommy. "Are you okay?" They both nodded. "Can we go home?" Jake asked. "Yes," I said. "Let's go home." We exited through a side hallway. Emma approached us briefly. "Please, Mark, they're my kids." "They're in my care now," I said calmly. "You had opportunities to protect them. You made choices. Now there are consequences." "I was trying." "You locked them out 3 times. That's what happened." Brad guided her away. She looked back once more at Jake and Tommy. I did not feel guilt. I felt relief. That evening, I made spaghetti and meatballs, their favorite meal. "So," I said at the table, "we're official now. You're staying with me." Jake smiled. "That's okay." "Yeah," he added, "you're a good dad." "Not uncle, dad." Tommy climbed into my lap. "Can we stay forever?" "Forever," I said. "Even when you're older, this will always be your home." Jake looked at me seriously. "Thank you for not sending us back." "You don't need to thank me for keeping you safe. That's what parents do." Parents. That was my role now. 2 years later, Emma called. "Mark, can we talk?" "About what?" "I left Brad. I've been in therapy. I'm doing better. I was hoping, maybe unsupervised visits?" "No." "Mark, please." "Emma, I care about you, but the boys are stable, they're happy. They call me Dad. I won't disrupt that because things have recently improved." There was a pause. "Can I at least see them?" "Every other Saturday, 2 hours, supervised." "Okay," she said quietly. "Thank you." I ended the call. Jake walked into the kitchen. "Was that Mom?" "Yes." "Is she okay?" "She's trying." "Do you think she'll really change?" "I don't know, but what matters is that you're safe." He hugged me. "I'm glad you opened the door that night." "So am I."